some incantation and said, "Your wish is granted. She will never give birth, as tonight she will be struck in a dream." In a faraway town called Itoko, life moved at a gentle pace. Itoko was a small community where everyone knew each other intimately. Among the well-known families was the family of Bimbe. Bimbe's parents, Ada and Bolu, were renowned in the community. Bolu, a wealthy Yoruba man, owned several successful businesses, including a farm, a fishing site, and a shoe production company. His enterprise thrived under his leadership, and he was known for treating his workers with kindness and fairness. Bolu was also a generous man, always willing to help those in need. Ada, on the other hand, was a hard-working woman and a regular customer at Bolu's fish shop before they married. Fate took an unexpected turn one busy day at Bolu's shop as customers lined up to buy fish. A young boy quietly stole money from an elderly man's bag. Ada, who witnessed the theft, confronted the boy, admonished him for stealing, and returned the money to the grateful old man. Bolu, observing this from a distance, was struck by Ada's integrity and kindness. He had never encountered anyone like her in his previous relationship and was immediately drawn to her. Unknown to Ada, Bolu began to observe her closely. He watched how she interacted with people, how she handled difficult situations, and even tested her patience by paying a child to spill dirty water on her. Instead of getting angry, Ada laughed and played with the child, showing remarkable patience and kindness. This further convinced Bolu that Ada was the woman he wanted to marry. Bolu decided to approach Ada with his feeling. After a day of overseeing his farm harvest, he went to see her at the market. He introduced himself, confessed his feelings, and explained how he has been observing her. Ada was taken aback and needed time to process everything. She thanked Bolu and asked for time to think. Bolu assured her that he would wait as long as necessary. Ada was confused and overwhelmed. Although she knew Bolu was a good man with a kind heart, the fact that he was a Yoruba man who had come to do business in their community troubled her. After days of contemplation, she decided to discuss the matter with her family. Her family made inquiry about Bolu and his background and everything. Eventually, Ada and Bolu got married, and their love story became a cherished tale in the small town of Itoko. Their union was a testament to kindness, patience, and the beauty of love that transcended cultural boundaries. Bolu's mother, Timi, loved Ada deeply and wanted to ensure her son's happiness. She insisted that Ada stays with the family for 2 weeks before starting a home with Bolu. During her stay, Ada woke up early to complete household chores, prepare breakfast, and help Bolu's brother's wife, Tope, with various tasks. In time, Ada slowly won everyone over in the family, including her mother-in-law, Timi, due to her good nature. However, one person posed a threat to their relationship and marriage: Bolu's younger brother, Ademi. Ademi despised Ada simply because she was Igbo. He was a lazy man with no desire to work, only wanting to eat and indulge. His family had forced him to marry, hoping the new responsibility would change him, but instead he grew worse. Sometimes he stole money from his wife and drank himself into stupor. Other times he gambled and lost everything. This continued until Ada intervened, unaware that the person she wanted to help despised her. One evening during their honeymoon, Ada has instantly brought up a delicate topic with Bolu. Honey, she started slowly. Remember you told me you'd give me anything I ask as a gift for keeping my virtue. Bolu, stroking her hair as they lay in bed, replied, Yes, my love. What is it? Tell me anything and I'll do it. Stop beating around the bush. I am all ears. I am not beating around the bush, Ada replied. I don't want it to seem like I am asking for a lot, but I want you to give me this as my gift. She paused before continuing. You know, Ademi, Bolo's expression darkened. If this is about Ademi, stop this discussion. My heart, listen to me first. Hear me out. That is about my gift. And besides, he is your brother. Just because he is no good and useless doesn't mean your family should abandon him. My love, Bolu interrupted. You don't know who you are asking. He is my brother and my family has done a lot to help him. Did you know I made him the manager of my business in my village? He sold the business and ran away with the money. I would have locked him up if the family hadn't intervened. Let's end the discussion here. Ada wanted to continue, but seeing that Bolu was unwilling to listen, she fell silent. The next morning, Ada got up early, prepared a meal for her husband, and was about to leave for the market when Bolu stopped her. My love, you don't have to go to the shop today. We are on our honeymoon, and I am not going to the market. Seeing my heartbeat, Ada replied, fondly calling her husband. You are a wholesaler, and I am just a retailer. You can't compare the both of us. Bolu rose up from the bed, approached his wife, and gave her a peck on the cheek. She smiled and said, You know you can't bribe me with affection. This continued until Bolu won, and Ada finally decided to stay home. At home, Ada served Bolu egusi soup and pounded yam. The food is delicious, Bolu exclaimed. I haven't eaten this food before, and that's because you're Yoruba indigene, Ada concluded, and they both laughed. After their meal, Bolu asked, What was it you wanted to ask me about Ademi? Ademi is a grown-up man with responsibility. Ada begins gently. If you don't want to help him, think about his wife Tope and an industrious nation. If not, think also about her two small children. How will she manage to sustain the family with her fufu business? Ademi isn't helping at all and often steal her money, making excuses when caught. Bolu was surprised. I didn't know you observed that, he said. Yes, my love, Ada continued. I observed everything during my 2 week stay at your place. I know how difficult it is to photope. I know how it feels to be abandoned. I lost both of my parents and I suffered greatly. I achieved what I have because God helped me. Let's help Ademi. Why don't we invite him and his family to stay in our village? We could buy him a hut, and I'm even ready to give him my business. You can supply the fish, and his wife can oversee the finances. He will have no choice but to agree. Bolu didn't know what to say. He stayed at his wife and thanked God for giving him such a compassionate and selfless partner. Later that day, Bolu called his mother to explain everything, including the plan for Ademi and his family to come live with him. Timmy was overjoyed. She thanked her son profusely and asked him to express her gratitude to Ada as well. After ending the call, she wondered what she had done to deserve such a merciful daughter-in-law. She thanked God and eagerly shared the news with Ademi and his wife Tope. The day Bolu arrived to pick up Ademi and his family was filled with joy. They waved goodbye to their mother and other family members as they headed to the bus station. It took 8 hours to reach Itoko village, and by the time they arrived, it was already late. Bolu took Ademi and his family to the house he had purchased for them. At home, Ada warmly welcomed her husband. She took his bag and asked how his journey was. Smiling gently, she prepared his baked water, and after he finished bathing, she served him dinner and sat closely to him as they ate. Ada inquired about his journey, and Bolu told her everything. They talked until late at night before retiring to bed. The next morning, Ada prepared a delicious meal for both families. She took the meal to Tope's place, and the women exchanged greetings. The two women had become best friends ever since Ada visited her in-laws' place, growing even closer than sisters. Tope expressed her gratitude to Ada for her kindness and everything she has done. Later that day, Ada took Tope and Ademi to her retail store. She spent hours teaching Tope the secrets of the business and introduced her to the customer, explaining that they will be running the shop. After ensuring everything was in place, Ada returned home to cook for her husband. Slowly, Tope adapted to the business, and the people of Itoko grew fond of her just as they loved Ada. Ademi, however, remained the same. His behavior continued, but he was restrained because Tope managed the business finances and Bolu closely watching over him. Ademi was angry and blamed Ada for an inability to handle money. He decided to teach her a lesson. Despite his outward smiles and praises for Ada, Ademi harbored resentment. Only one person, Deni, Bolu's enemy, noticed Ademi's true feelings. Deni was jealous of Bolu's success and befriended Ademi, hoping to exploit his discontent. During one of the drinking sessions, Deni probed Ademi about his problem. I have noticed you're always moody when your brother shows up. What is wrong? Deni, feigning concern, Ademi hesitated, but eventually told Deni everything. Deni listened intently. I can help you, Deni said. I will take you to Babido, a powerful specialist in the village of Oren. It is a 3-day journey, but he can grant your wishes. What would I ask him to do? Ademi questioned. Anything you want. You can make your brother poor, or even ensure he never has children, so you can inherit his business, Deni suggested. Ademi liked the idea of Bolu being childless. I am ready, he said. The next day, Ademi convinced Tope he needed to visit a specialist to find a solution for his behavior, swearing her to secrecy. She reluctantly agreed, and Ademi and Deni set off on their journey. At Babido's shrine, Ademi expressed his desire. The spiritualist performed some incantation and said, your wish is granted. She will never give birth, as tonight she will be struck in a dream, causing her to be barren until a power greater than mine set her free. Ademi, satisfied, paid Babido with money borrowed from Deni. As they left, Babido said, I see no reasons to harm this family. They are good people, but it is your wish. That night, Ada had a strange dream where someone struck her stomach. She woke up screaming in pain, waking Bolu. My love, what is wrong? Bolu asked, consigned evidence in his voice. My stomach hurts, Ada replied, tears streaming down her face. It might be because of what you ate, Bolu suggested, gently stroking her hair and trying to comfort her. They went to bed, and the next morning, Ada awoke with no pain. She wondered what had relieved her discomfort. After completing her morning chores, she prepared breakfast for herself and Bolu. Once they had eaten, they set out for their joint business. Ada helped Bolu manage his farm business and visited his shoe and fish site to check inventories. On their way, they encountered Tope. Ada greeted her warmly, but noticed that Tope seemed a bit reserved when Ada asked about Ademi. Tope offered only a small smile and no real answer. Though Ada felt a pang of disappointment, she decided to let it go. When Ademi returned, Tope was hopeful that her husband had changed. Ademi greeted Tope with a sweet smile, which was unusual for him. He carefully removed his clothes and shoes, placing them neatly in the room instead of leaving them on the floor as he usually did. Tope was happy with the changes and decided to stay home instead of going to the shop. During their meal, Tope gently asked, "Honey, what happened with the specialist? What did he say? What was the cause of your trouble? Who was responsible?" Ademi, maintaining a calm voice, replied, "I will tell you everything when the time is right." Tope chose not to push further, grateful for the positive change she has witnessed. Years passed, and Ada remained childless. She often cries herself to sleep, blaming herself for her barrenness. Bolu, ever supportive, took on extra chores and shielded Ada from village gossip. He even overheard rumors that she was a witch, causing her own misfortune, but chose to ignore them, focusing instead on protecting Ada from further hurt. Despite their challenges, Ada and Bolu continued their hearts of kindness. Ada often cooked meals for the neighbored children and even encouraged them to stay longer. However, some parents grew wary, suspecting Ada of using charm to win their children's affection and want their child to stay away. Tope, on the other hand, did her best to comfort Ada. She occasionally let her children, Funke and Ade, spend time with her. Still, nothing compared to having her own child. One night, unable to sleep, Ada quietly rose, took a lamp, and knelt outside her home. She gazed at the sky, tears flowing as she prayed. Shukru, Creator of everything, Ada began. I thank you for all your blessing. You are a great person who can give us everything, including children. I have lived a good life, tried not to hurt anyone, and yet you made me barren. If I have found favor in your eyes, please grant me the blessing of motherhood. After a heartfelt prayer, Ada returned to bed. The next morning, she woke up early to complete her house chores before Bolu could rise. As she swept the compound, she noticed a child sitting in front of her house. She wondered how the child had arrived unnoticed. Setting aside her broom, Ada approached the child. "Hello, young one. How are you? Have you eaten?" Ada asked. The child shook her head without hesitation. Ada went inside, warmed some leftover food, and brought it to the child. After the child finished eating, she hugged the child and gently touched Ada's stomach. Ada felt a strange sensation as though something had left her. The child smiled and said, "Mercy found you. Tell no one but your husband." Before Ada could respond, the child disappeared. Later that day, Ada shared the encounter with Bolu. Though he encouraged her, he was secretly worried. A few months later, Ada discovered she was pregnant and gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. The entire village celebrated her naming ceremony, and those who had previously insulted her sought her forgiveness. The baby with curly hair was named Bimbe Mercy, but was unfortunately called Bimbe. The news of Ada's pregnancy and the birth of Bimbe came as a surprise to Tope and Ademi, who was unaware until the day of Bimbe's birth. Bimbe grew into a lively, kind-hearted girl, known throughout the village for her radiant smile and loving nature. She brought immense joy and laughter to her parents, making her family. Still unknown to Ada, Ademi harbored a deep-seated anger and jealousy after the miraculous birth of Bimbe. He had again visited Babi Idowu, who revealed that a greater power had set Ada free. Idowu had warned Ademi against any further foolishness or he would face severe consequences. This only fueled Ademi's hatred towards Ada and Bimbe, and a dark jealousy feasted within him. Tope, Ademi's wife, and their children, Ade and Funke, were overjoyed with the arrival of Bimbe. Bimbe often visits their home to play with her older cousins. Despite being older, Funke and Ade treated her with kindness, never making her feel less important. They strengthened their bond, and every visit was filled with laughter and affection. However, Ademi's smiles were hallowed. He concealed his true feelings of hatred. Ademi tried to convince his wife to share his disdain for Bimbe and her family, but Tope resisted. She was unwilling to turn against the family that had helped them. Frustrated, Ademi concocted a deceitful plan. During a meal, he told Tope a fabricated story, saying, "Remember how you were curious to know why I acted the way I did? It was Bolu who tried to use me to make money. When his plan failed, he again made me useless. He even involved Ada in scheme, which was why they were not able to have children. He didn't want me to manage his business, so he left everything to his wife." Tope's eyes widened in shock. "Is that true?" she asked. "And why didn't you tell me earlier?" "Calm down," Ademi continued. "Bolu's actions were a way to cover his dark secrets. I have come up with a plan to kill Bimbe so that I can take everything for myself. The spiritual specialist said that if I manage the wealth, the truth will come out. Bolu will be bedridden and the village will learn of their secret. Did you want that?" Tope's eyes, with curiosity, replied, "I want them to pay, but how would it be done? When the time comes, I will let you know," Ademi said, his voice filled with sinister intent. Thanks for watching, and please like, comment and subscribe. Stay tuned as Ademi took his plan into action, making Bimbe hunt those that took her life. The moral lesson of this story is that we should avoid greed, because where there is greed, there downfall lies. We should also have faith and be kind, because it will pave the way for us.